Rubino, right? Welcome back to another episode of Vancouver Real, and welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. My name is Andy Zaremba, and with me behind the helm today is Mike.
Hey everybody, nice to be with you. Thanks for joining us today. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you behind the helm. It's a lot easier to conduct an interview when you have someone working the cameras. As opposed to trying to do the interview and work the cameras at the same time, which was the position I was in last week. But
yeah,
it's a good exercise in multitasking.
Compartmentalization.
That's a more accurate term.
Yeah,
for sure.
But men are usually stronger doing that anyways.
Are we?
Typically, I think so. I think it's a trait that we have, but I find I'll end up kind of defaulting to just having the camera on them 90% of the time.
Yeah, I do that too.
So
it's less dynamic.
Yeah,
but
you
know,
okay.
You gotta do what you gotta do. But anyways, as usual, we are recording out of 70 West Cordova Street here in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and this is our business Float House. And if you haven't heard of floating yet, you can go to www.floathouse.ca and learn everything you want about flotation therapy. We have a really great video on the website and up on YouTube called What is Floating? So if you've never heard of this crazy float thing before, check out just YouTube What is Floating, and that gives you a 7-minute synopsis of what it is and all the benefits that it does for you. And personally, I like to get in at least one float a week. I find when I do that, it really helps me maintain my stress levels. And I also use it as a meditation practice, actually. And it's a pretty long meditation stint, but I find when you can go for those longer periods, that's when you can really start exercising that muscle. When you're really focusing your attention on your breath, you know, your mind's going to wander off into all sorts of different places. And when you notice it doing that, bringing it back to your breath over and over and over, and you're basically training your attention. Mm-hmm. And that's one aspect of it, but it's something that if you're into meditation or anything like that, it's a very applicable one for you.
Well, and the nice thing about the tank is that it's so physically comfortable because you're literally floating. You're completely supported by this super saturated solution of water, and that is skin temperature. And so you can maintain that position for a super long time. In fact, just the other day, we were closed because we did our Christmas party after New Year's and all that. And one of our staff members, I think, floated for 17 hours. He came in and out and went to the washroom, had some water. Brandon did.
Wow.
Yeah, because we were closed the whole day. So he's like, okay, well, I'm going to float all night long and then all day to the next day. And then he came right from that to the bowling. And so he floated for 17 hours. And that's like just a testament to like how long you can stay in there. Not that, most people do that. I think he did set a record with that one. But anyways, it's interesting.
Well, when you're meditating cross-legged, you definitely get really sore really quick. If you've ever done a Vipassana meditation, your knees get really sore, your back gets really sore.
Yeah.
But floating, you don't really feel anything. So you can keep going as long as you want. The weird thing about it, though, is you don't really fall asleep. You kind of go into these weird in and out of theta state kind of range,
Mm-hmm.
but rarely do I fall right asleep, which is, you don't feel as restful as a full night's sleep, but it's an interesting state of consciousness for sure.
Absolutely. No, it's an amazing environment to explore.
Yeah. If you'd like to give that a shot, use the promo code Vancouver Real. That will get you a 20% discount on a single float. And also, should give a shout out to the Vancouver Real community page. Every month we have meetups, and basically we rotate the meetups on different themes. So some months is a movement workshop or nutrition, or we'll do something like a design a website workshop or some sort of personal development workshop.
Or just go for a hike.
Or go for a hike. And it's just really building community and bringing value to the community. And all those workshops are 100% free of charge. We just basically bring in different guests. Like we had Steve Maxwell come in. He did a whole workshop for us, a breathwork workshop. So if you'd like to get connected with that, go to the Vancouver Real community page on Facebook, or you can get linked up through the Vancouver Real TV.tv website, and you can stay up to date on all of our events that we have coming.
Yeah, you sign up for the mailing list, and you'll be able to not miss a single event. And then finally, there's two more little announcements. We always like to try to support local entrepreneurs and businesses and business owners. And there's two products that we feature here at Float House that we want to always try to get some airtime to, and that is the Grind Bar and Brain Evolve. The Grind Bar is it's an energy bar basically that there's two options. There's a CBD-free one, and there's one with CBD. So definitely kind of forefronting to the cannabis market that is, the legalization is just upon us. And CBD is a non-psychoactive, super anti-inflammatory oil that comes out of cannabis plants, and it is infused in this energy bar. So it's a really awesome product that is locally produced by Dave Wheel. And then second is Brain Evolve, which is a fantastic nootropic supplement that can help to support your basically your cognitive functioning. It can help prevent neurodegenerative disease, and it's great for helping promote sleep as well. So that's Brain Evolve, and bennettschoice.com is the website with that. So local guys doing amazing things, and we always want to give them a shout out because we do support them here at Float House.
Yeah, and I happen to use each of those products pretty much every day. I have a Grind Bar in the morning and a Brain Evolve at night. One helps me get going, and the other one helps me shut down every night. So, and lastly, of course, we have the Mindful Mass Meditation group. We're currently running a 30-day challenge, and it will be about 2 weeks in, actually, but you can still link up with that if you go to the Mindful Mass meditation page, or mindfulmass.org. You can link up with all of our group pages there. You can still participate in the 30-day meditation challenge, where we're basically promoting meditation and encouraging people to do 10 minutes a day. And it's interesting. It's an interesting process. I even missed one day, but I think it's really great to develop the practice of it if you actually can. And it's a habit like anything else. And they say after 21 days or 30 days, it's going to become a habit that you can stick with. But it's been an interesting journey, just doing that every single day as opposed to sporadically like I normally do in the tank.
Yeah, I got into a consistent meditation practice, which I'm off of now, but a couple years ago, and I did it for a full year, and it was incredible. And I got to the point where if I didn't do it in the morning, I woke up and I would crave it. I really would love to have that space and that time just to sit. And if I didn't do it, I always felt like I was one step behind in the day versus one step ahead of the day when I did meditate. So although you take time out of your day to do it, it actually makes you more productive and more efficient, helps you better regulate your emotions, much like a float practice. So, these things are intertwined, and that's why we're kind of dabbling in all these worlds in different communities. So,
all right.
Anyways, moving on. Let's get into today's show.
That's a long intro. It's much longer than normal.
Juicy, though.
It was juicy. There's a lot of stuff in there. Awesome.
Perfect.
Well, hopefully we're going to learn a lot from you today. And this is the second of our Tedx Stanley Park series. We have Dominic Rubino, correct?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, in studio with us today. And he is going to be participating in the Tedx Stanley Park 2018 talks. And our good friend Roger Killen has been kind enough to offer up his speakers to come and be interviewed on the podcast. So first of all, welcome to Vancouver Real.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
And you have a podcast yourself, correct?
I do, yeah. I have one that specializes in talking to franchise leaders, the people that run the concepts that we so often go to as retail stores or get our services through. Well, those businesses need a support system as well. And
totally. Is it an interview style podcast, or is it just you talking?
Very similar to what you have set up here.
Yeah.
Mine's a lot less technical, and yours looks better. And yours is on a cool street in downtown Vancouver.
Yeah.
Mine happens at an office in Burnaby. I have an office down there at Kingsway and Willingdon.
Yeah.
But I do my interviews usually by Zoom remotely, so I don't get the benefit of being in the same room as my guests. And I love this.
Yeah, it adds a different feel to it when you're face to face, and eventually all this equipment, the mics and the cameras, all start disappearing, and you start having a conversation that just gets recorded.
Yeah.
I find we do some Skype interviews, but I find that something gets a little bit lost in there. It's some of the
nuances,
juice, the nuances. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to do it if you can do it in person. But the nice thing about Skype or whatever else you use, you can interview anybody anywhere, and it's much easier to sync up times. And
that's right. Times is especially important.
Yeah. So this is your first TEDx talk?
It's my first TED Talk, yeah.
Wow, that's a big move.
But it was on my bucket list. And then, as they say, it just appeared. The mindfulness that you were talking about and the meditation that you were talking about, Andy.
Yeah.
I do that in a different way, maybe more of a business guy's way. I write down my affirmations, my goals, and my actions. And I said to myself, I started writing down, I want to do a TED Talk. And then I got the invitation in the email, I should say, a couple of months later.
Very nice. And so you have a business. You're a business coach as well. And what is the subject of your talk at Tedx Stanley Park, and why did you choose that?
Both really good questions. So my talk isn't so much about business, although that's where it starts. So what I'm going to be discussing at Tedx Stanley Park, and by the way, that's on March the 3rd next year, or this year.
This year.
It's 2018 already.
It's coming up.
Got to start saying that, writing that down properly, at the Queenie Theatre. So when I first met with Roger, the producer, we sort of started talking about what the topics could be. And with my business background, it felt very natural for me to talk that way. But Roger really urged me to look at how that was impacting my personal life. And both of my kids are preteens. One's 9 and one's 12. And there was an issue that came up around social media, really bad. We allow my daughter to use just one social media app. And as I say in my talk, her 12-year-old world started to crash around her.
Oh, no. This doesn't sound good.
No, the movie Mean Girls came to town.
Oh, no.
And I think people just get ramped up. I mean, in the old days, when you'd be on a chat room or a forum, people would say, they can act 10 feet tall and, like they're the Incredible Hulk.
Sure.
And, well, so can little girls.
That's really interesting. Actually, I mean, if you don't mind just kind of tapping into that little segment there, because I'm a new father, but obviously social media is going to be a part potentially of his life. So, what sort of from your experiences, what have you guys learned from this, and what would you advise against? What would you support? In a nutshell, maybe.
It's changing fast. I mean,
Right.
I still think Facebook is the way to communicate. And my 12-year-old daughter and my 9-year-old son are pretty sure Facebook is old. And so one of the apps that my daughter uses now, which will be no longer applicable when your son is at that age,
Right.
is Musical.ly.
Huh.
Never heard of that one.
Never heard of it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's the answer to the question is it's changing so fast, is that I think awareness on our part as parents awareness on my part as a parent is the most important thing that I can do. And just the little things that I hear about from other parents, no computer in their room alone, they have to use their devices in front of us, limiting what they can do, but also trusting them that they can use it so that it's not, binging when they finally get a chance that we're not looking.
Right. And you also don't want to be the only one in your class or school not on it either. So
That's right.
That's a tricky thing too, because it's like you will feel a bit left out.
Yeah.
But of course, I guess that leaves an opening for what's going on in school to potentially follow kids home.
Right.
Is that somewhat of the situation that happened?
Yeah, it was a bit of that situation. So my daughter's a competitive swimmer, and because she leaves school every day to swim, one of the girls at school said she wasn't a real friend. I mean, and to us as adults, this might not seem like a big deal, but it really like an absolute sucking sound of her life going just into oblivion because she was being accused of not being a real friend because she wasn't there to hang out with the other kids after school or go do fun things. Right. And instead, she's just a really committed athlete doing her thing.
But, at that age, too, it's like they're so fragile socially.
Yes.
Any sort of rejection from, like, the group or their friends, it can be super crushing. And it's the worst thing about social media in that sense, too, is that, like, everything that gets online is seen by so many more people, right? It's like, if it was, like, an incident at school, there might be, 5-10 kids around max, right? And now it's, like, seen by a couple hundred, which is, like...
And you're hoping they're adults. You're hoping they're kids, not adults.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too.
Predatory ones, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do when it comes to Facebook. I think Facebook should be 18 plus, personally. The stuff that's on there is like, I feel like there should be an age restriction on it.
I think there is an age restriction.
Is there?
But you can get around it just by saying you're not that age. And
then
so
you can have a Facebook profile.
Automatically.
Yeah.
So I have a quick funny story for you.
Sure.
Because my son is 9, he's younger. And so we had this conversation with him that everything that goes on the internet is there forever. And so what you say right now will follow you the rest of your life. And so he said, and this is a 9. At the time, he was probably an 8-year-old boy. And he said, well, then I'm going to tell the internet that I really like the Avengers. And one day I'll get to work with the Avengers.
That's manifestation.
Yeah, right there.
Love attraction.
Yeah, yeah.
Good for him.
Awesome. So this is part of your talk. So this incident with your daughter spurred on what exactly? What sort of actions did you take in your family because of this?
Great question, because it spurred on frustration and anxiety. We did not know. We realized we didn't know what we didn't know. And I like to say that sometimes parenting is like flying an airplane while you're building it. while the passengers are licking knives and sticking their fingers in sockets, right? I mean, it's a bit of craziness. Welcome to the world. You're going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
How old's your little one?
Oh, it's 3 months.
Oh, yeah.
I'm brand new.
Brand new. They smell so good when they're little.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
Kiss 'em and
I
hug
gave him a
'em all the
bath
time.
in the sink today. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah. So but first of all, it was a lot of anxiety for us. And then my wife and I realized that we were approaching things as a dictator style of leadership, which is don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. But having rules has limitations on it. And so through my work as a business coach, and my wife is in the business with me, we realized we needed to take the conversation to the values level, who we are as people, because values can be modified easily to any situation, whereas rules are meant to be very formulaic, and you can easily find ways to get outside them, but values override it. So that's where we took the convo.
Right. So building strong values within your children and in your family.
Yeah, reinforcing the values that we had as a family and making the values conversation something the kids could have. And, they don't even want to hear the word values, but
totally.
having the conversation.
So when it comes to values, so there's more than just a rule. That's something that's ingrained in them that hopefully will stick with them for a lot longer in their life, right? So I guess what you have to do when you're trying to install these values is think far ahead into the future and be like, okay, what's going to best serve them in the future? And also potentially even benefit you. So it's like having good, strong family values. So it's like one day when, you're in a home and you need to be taken care of, those kids are they're around and they actually might want to help you out as well.
That's right. Yeah. They don't want to just push me down the stairs.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Or any other number of things that we're not going to talk about.
No, exactly.
Yeah. But you're absolutely right. Is and this is important for business owners that are listening as well. Whatever we say our values are, we have to be able to support that with a story inside the family or inside the business anyways. So if as a business you say you walk the talk, you have to have a story or an example that says we walk the talk. And you guys run a very beautiful facility here.
Thank you.
Clearly have values established. What it means when you walk in. I knew the culture when I walked in. This is a quiet place. It's a respectful place. I told you guys I turned my cell phone off as soon as I walked in.
Yeah.
Right. So I know you're a little bit about your values, and you probably have stories that go along with that. Right.
Definitely. Yeah. It's I think a common thread in terms of like what we promote and we convey to the staff and try to convey to the customers on social media, and something we've built over a number of years now.
And ultimately, kind of the core of what we got going on here too, right? This is in essence a meditation sort of business. So it's like, okay, let's bring that essence throughout the whole company, you know, from the experience and then
so
into
it's
the tank.
aligned, right? It's consistent.
That's right.
So I get a consistent experience.
Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want clowns juggling out here as I'm about to go into a meditation chamber, right? It would. That would be crazy.
It'd be a little stimulating.
That'd be overstimulating.
We see that for the experts, for those advanced meditators. That's how we challenge them. We get some crazy stuff. We have like a big boom cannon and we just launch that off and say, can you still relax?
Yeah.
We used to have a bit of a joke when we used to play music, like really hardcore music or something in the tank when somebody, if it was one of us, maybe we'd play something that would be a little bit off. Rarely happens, but like, the joke would be like, wake them up with like Metallica or something like that.
A jolt of reality.
Yeah, there you go. Welcome back.
Yeah. So when it comes to installing these values,
right.
What are some of the values that you really want to install with your family? And then what are some of the values that you think is important to install in business?
Well, the focus of my talk is really about can we fix the issues of the modern family by using the tools from strategic planning and business, right? So you're right on path there. So we have to look at our family. What's really big for our family is family unity and commitment and communication and healthy living, healthy eating. My wife's a fitness instructor. I love being healthy. So that's a natural for our kids. I mean, they grew up in the womb doing high impact aerobics. So bouncing around in mommy's tummy, right? So they're used to that kind of 160 beat per minute life. So we had to look to those things. But the values on the other side of your question for any company just reflect what that company's like. I work with some trades companies and their values are about precision and about pride and about craftsmanship and about anything it takes to get the job done. Those are different values, but on top of that is how they are as people outside. So it's different for everybody, and that's okay, as long as those values are consistent throughout. And for ours, we started off the values conversation by asking them how my wife actually phrased the question properly. She said, how do you think we are the same or different than other families?
Interesting. So she posed that question.
She posed that question. Yeah. Well, I started with kids do you know what values are?
Right.
And my daughter was reaching for a California roll, and she just looked at me, and she slumped her shoulders. She's like, Dad, come on. Can't we just eat?
Yeah.
We were having sushi. And Deidre rephrased it really well. And then they said things like, we laugh a lot. We see family a lot. We're an Italian family. We see each other as much as we can. And we just had, it was a good conversation.
And what do you think are some of the advantages to having those values in your family and in your business?
The advantage is that I always know how to act or react and what I stand for, or what the company, if I go to the company side, what the company stands for. So what the company stands for, if I understand that as an employee, I know how to deal with an angry customer without the owners being around. I can make a judgment call, right, based on what I know about our values. And in our family, I know that my kids then should be able to make a judgment call when it comes to being tempted with drugs, being tempted to quit any sport. It doesn't matter. My kid's in swimming, but being tempted to quit because they're being accused of not being a friend. Anything that comes up, and there's lots of things that come up, right? It's easy. You see something on the table, can I steal it? I can take it, nobody's looking at it. No, that's stealing. We don't do that. That's not who we are as people.
Right. And you mentioned too, let's talk maybe a bit more on the business side of things, about weaving in those values into your story. What are some of the ways you'd recommend that's done, or how that's communicated?
In a business?
Yeah.
Well, the owners, in this case, I guess it's the two of you as brothers,
Yeah.
You have to agree as to what the values are. And it's okay the first time you do it to have a really long list, let's say 13 or 18 values. But what you also want to do is revisit it every couple of years and hone it down and tighten it as much as you can till you get it to 6 or 8, whatever it is. Then every chance you get at your company meetings or in your one-on-ones, you want to talk about your values. And if you are training another new person on the team, or if you're correcting somebody, you want to refer back to those values consistently. So you'll say that, how one of our values here is mindfulness. That's not what you guys said, but I'll put that out there.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So does it help our mindfulness when the phone is ringing and you're taking another phone call and somebody else is trying to get their gown and slippers ready,
Yeah.
And so it becomes very easy to manage, and they go, okay, mindfulness is one of our values. Am I doing something consistent with that?
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing that we have to strike a really fine balance of when you're running a business, and there are busy moments when there's guests coming in, the phone's ringing, you got to deal with an issue, someone's getting in the tank, there's a problem, whatever. But then also not having that spill over to the employees and having them get stressed out, because
Right.
that's very against basically what this whole place is about. So it's like having a relaxed work environment, yet still getting things done. So we have to find that balance in there, right?
You need one room in the back that's just for yelling,
That's
just
right.
preventing.
Well, we have the cryotherapy unit, so that would be one room that people yell in sometimes.
Yeah.
We try to discourage it, but once in a while, when that temperature gets down to, what's the lowest?
I don't know, -170 or something like
Yeah,
that.
you hear some shrieks in there every now and then.
What's the cryotherapy? First I go in the immersion bath, then I go in the freezer?
No. Well, usually
Yes,
people
typically-
do them together, but
Yeah, no, we do have the float and freeze combo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And people will go for their float typically first, and then the freeze afterwards, which is only about 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes tops. And that really perks them up. It's we really calm them down with the float tank, and then if you do need to go out and have a little bit of energy boost after that, the cryo can really jolt you.
yeah. Cryo's great for the joints, though. Gives you like a little boost of metabolism, so it helps you burn some calories.
Right.
Apparently, it's really good for your skin. Apparently, someone
Collagen.
like it 'cause it helps
Yeah.
collagen production, helps tighten up your skin and that sort
Wow.
of thing. Yeah, we get a lot of people in the film industry that come by and use it. So
Well, they get pretty stressed and they work long hours.
They do.
and they're very I find that they're very sort of cutting edge when it comes to health and wellness trends. Like they're looking for that next thing that's going to help them
Get the edge.
get the edge or
Yep.
age less or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead.
No, I was going to say I'm definitely a get the edge guy.
Yeah,
I
get
stop
the
at
edge.
I stop
You
at
get
drug
better.
use, but I'll do everything else that it takes to get the edge. So you mentioned alpha or theta music.
Yeah.
Theta. We talked about theta
Brainwaves?
brainwave states,
Right.
which is like that state right between waking and sleeping. So you're still conscious, but it's very dreamlike. And sometimes people can get like dreamlike imagery, or they'll hear auditory hallucinations, or all sorts of really weird
Creative
things happen.
insight.
Creative insights. So it's an interesting state to be in, and typically the tank will hold you in that state.
Wonderful.
And it's great for entrepreneurs actually for that reason, because whenever I have
Problem
a problem,
solving.
sometimes I'll go in there and I'll just I'll just float on it for a little while, and generally I'll come out with some sort of solution to apply to business, right? So
yeah, I love it.
yeah, so you're about pushing the boundaries, you're about finding an edge, and obviously this talk with Tedx Stanley Park is going to be pushing another boundary for you, because this is your first TEDx talk, and you know it's going to be in front of a big audience, and this is something that can be a huge opportunity for somebody's career as well. If somebody really nails a TEDx talk and it gets picked up and like shown on TED, you can really skyrocket your career.
Right.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about how it happened for you and the process of getting ready for this talk?
Yeah, so I had, as I said earlier, a little bit of mindfulness on my part. I do it differently. I think we all do it a little bit differently, but I write my affirmations every day, and then I write out my goals, and then I immediately write my actions, and all I work on first are my actions, and then they align with my goals and my affirmations, so it helps me there. And one of the goals that I had, because I'm always thinking about new ways to improve my business, was that I thought a TED Talk would be a great place to take the stage, just like you said. And I put it out there, but I didn't really put it out verbally. And then I was nominated by somebody, unbeknownst to me. But it still came back to me. And so I'm a very big believer in the intentionality of leading my life and running my business in a direction that I choose for it to go. So then I had to go and pitch. And they don't tell you what you're going to talk about. They gave, Roger gave a couple of very high-level outlines of things you could talk about. None of them are what my topic is today. So I still had to go in there, create 3 different pitches. I went through the first 2 pitches and they just said, nope. And then we got to the 3rd pitch, and even that they modified right there while I was on stage to come up with the topic that we have today. And so I've been working on it now for about 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. And we were talking beforehand, you said you've practiced it about 300 times already?
Yeah, well, that's right. I've practiced the version that we have today about 300 times right now. But Roger Killen and his team put a tremendous amount of work into this production. I didn't realize how much work went into it, but there's a team of people behind the scenes that have just been fantastic.
Yeah, Roger is definitely a perfectionist when it comes to Tedx Stanley Park. We've been doing these interviews for the past few years with his speakers, and the amount of he's very detail oriented, extremely detail oriented, and the amount of preparation that goes in. I know they hire or they give you a speaking coach, and they do
media
rehearsals and all sorts of different things. But the nice thing is that the day of, it's so clean. If you've ever been to a TEDx Stanley Park, it's like the cleanest like TEDx presentation. It's like a TED. It's a TED caliber event, but it's a TEDx, and the speakers are always flawless. His gold standard is he wants to see a standing ovation for every single speaker. And I think last year they went 16 for 16, so that was his marker for excellence, I guess.
No pressure, Rubino. I've got to get a standing ovation.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the things that I know he's big on is a call to action.
Right.
So a call to action that's going to inspire people with your talk. So what would you say is like your big call to action to people for your talk? Not to give anything away too much.
No, it's okay. You know what? What I'm about to give away, people listening are going to go, oh, that's it? But it's been so impactful. And the call to action comes for us out of understanding that communicating with our kids, so not as a dictator, but as an inspirational leader, asking them or showing them how and why to do things, not telling them how I want it done. And so the call to action is really just getting back to the dinner table. No devices, no screen time. We're not watching TV. We're not playing on our phones. And that includes my wife and I and the kids. And we have 2 students staying with us, international students. There's no devices at the table. And we just have a real conversation. It doesn't matter what it's about, but we're just talking to the kids without interruptions.
I think that's so huge. I know I've been, I just came back from some traveling, and I had a nice break from the phone for a couple of weeks. And coming back, I just started consciously observing how much time people spend on their phones, and it is a lot. Yeah. Like you look in any coffee shop, or people or passengers driving, or sometimes sometimes the drivers.
Yeah.
People walking down the street. I see people watching, movies or TV shows on their phone as they're walking through the city, and it feels like, and it's like you mentioned it too, for kids. All people, these screens just suck people in, and it's really hard to put your finger on why, but they just do. Even when I was in Peru, it was great. We're playing with these tribal kids. They're all really young. They're kicking around a ball and throwing a tin can for fun. Like, this is what they do. And someone brings out a phone, and all the kids just magnetize to it, and they all just get drawn in. You know, what is it about these things that you think get people so hooked?
So I have given this some thought. I remember when I was younger, my dad said, "Don't put your hands in your pockets. It looks like you're not thinking about anything." And so, okay, don't put my hands in my pockets. And now I think it's easy for me when I'm not doing anything to look busy. And so is there a self-consciousness that comes about from not having anything to do? Where my dad used to say, "Don't put your hands in your pockets. It makes you look lazy." That's the Italian translation of what I'm saying. But now it's easy. If I have a phone in my hand, there's something important going on here. It could be Candy Crush or whatever people are playing, but you know, look at me, I'm important because something's happening here.
I think that's an element of it, and it's also an element of avoidance. You know, I think some people use it to avoid other people. They can be like, "Oh, I'm immersed in my phone. I don't need to necessarily.
I don't need to look up,
look
say
around,
hi,
or talk to people." I think that's one thing, and then is the compulsion of the whole thing. Just like, I mean, I heard a stat, and it's probably going up over the years. The last one I heard was the average person pulls out their phone 230 times a day. So that's the average.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And the funny thing is there's a great podcast on Sam Harris with this guy named Tristan. I can't remember his last name. The Sam Harris podcast. But he was talking about the technology that goes behind smartphones, especially social media apps. And they implement the same techniques that they would in like the gaming industry in terms of gambling.
Oh.
So like when you actually log in, there's that little notifications, like you can see here, Dave Rubino, and it has like two, you can't see it on there right now, but it has two little notifications. So when you log in, there's a delay before you see how many notifications you get. And so you're like looking, you're waiting. Oh,
I'm important.
I have notifications,
Something's there.
right?
Yeah.
So you get that little hit of dopamine. It's the same as pulling a slot machine every single time. You get that little hit, so it hits you over and over and over. Same with checking your email, same with Twitter, same with Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. So we literally start becoming addicted to that dopamine hit, which we start relating to the phone, right?
Yeah. And it's a society that doesn't really exist, right? And so this is where my daughter got drawn in on that one app. And so that's where the talk came from, is how do we help her understand that the social pressure she's feeling as a 12-year-old girl is just kids talk. It's the old-fashioned bullying that I had on the schoolyard. You may have had it too, maybe because you're two brothers and you guys are pretty fit. I don't know if anybody messed with you. But
I didn't have a lot. However, I was super shy in high school. I was really, really shy, really quiet. So I had it in a weird way because I was like this weird mix of a jock and a nerd in high school. So in class I was super quiet, but then I go and like smash heads in the football field.
On that. Yeah.
So I didn't get picked on too much, but I had definitely awkward moments in school.
Yeah.
That's how they're dealing with it. And you want to be, you want to be a part of the cool kids. You want to be a part of the group, and so everyone's trying to fit in and be liked, and for the most part, there are some unique kids that just kind of like go and completely do their own thing, and they get picked on typically because of that. You know what I mean? And so now with this whole extra dimension of social media in there, like.
That's a good word. It's another dimension.
It is.
We're just entering this portal of otherness.
And we're just trying to figure this thing out. Like, this is relatively new technology.
Yeah.
It's like, it's been around, Facebook's been around for a while now, but it's like, not to this extent, not to like this level. Like, these phones are so good. The screens are so good these days. And it's like, it's entertaining. You can look up anything you want, anytime. Any movies basically available to you, whatever, music.
Yeah.
And it's just right there. It's so accessible. So
tempting.
You're waiting in line. You're on your phone. It's one thing I don't mind is when you're sitting around for like a doctor's appointment or you're getting your driver's license renewed. It's like, it's not so bad anymore. You got a podcast, you got an audio book, you got your Kindle, whatever it happens to be, right?
I'll tell you though, some of the old-fashioned values are gone because of it. Because I don't take the SkyTrain a lot, but when I do, and I see somebody looking at their cell phone as a way to ignore the lady or the older person standing in front of them who they should be giving their seat to, that's a slim excuse, my friend. Get up and give that seat to somebody who needs it.
Have some situational awareness.
Yeah.
Right? Really, like what's going on around you. And not to mention, it's dangerous to not have that. Like walking through the city, looking at your phone is like, you're rolling the dice
walking
there.
into traffic, right?
Totally.
Yeah,
it happens. Yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so with your talk then, like, how are you feeling? Like, are you nervous at all? Are you feeling quite confident?
So I'm a mix, because just this weekend we did our first live reading where it was supposed to be memorized. And even from there, Roger and the team came back with a lot of edits, a lot of places for me to tighten it up. So I kind of knew that was going to be the case going in. So I memorized it, but I didn't overly commit, if that makes sense. I didn't get to that place where it's second nature. I was still trying to remember, and I needed some cues. But now I have to go back and rewrite it again. So, here I am, a business coach, and I recognized that I needed a coach. So I got a TEDx speech coach for this, and it's been phenomenal. Cool. It saved me time, and it's just a really big confidence booster to know I'm going down the right path.
Yeah.
Because that's part of it, is just that mindfulness of where I want to go.
Somebody local or somebody?
She's actually part of the TEDx team, and I pulled her aside to be my coach.
Who is it?
Dr. Renee Jacobs. Oh, okay. Do you know her?
No, I don't know.
She's fantastic.
I used to be involved with Vancouver Entrepreneurs Toastmaster Club, VETC,
okay.
and a lot of them are involved with Tedx Stanley Park.
Sharuk Darola?
No.
Do you know Sharuk? He's part of the team too.
No,
okay.
no. Some of their coaches, like Dustin, Jules, Gobinder, maybe they're not doing it this year. So.
Yeah, perhaps I haven't met them yet.
Yeah, anyways.
Yeah, there's always more people sitting behind Roger. I never know. He's got a huge team. We've had media training. We've had acting training. We've had stage positioning training. We've had speech writing training.
How much do you think you've improved because of this?
Okay, so that's a really good question, because I've improved in a different direction. I have spent my life trying to be the best business strategist I could be, and this is a completely different place. This is more on the creative side, so it's really stretched me on that creativity side. I have a new respect for actors who have to memorize their scripts and make me believe it. That's a lot of work.
It is hard.
Wow.
It is really hard. I did this one little thing for Shaw last year where I was doing this walking and talking thing through Float House, and it was only 30 seconds long, but it took 23 takes to nail it.
Yeah.
23 takes to get it, because something always happens, like you flub a word or something, the camera guys screw up or something's just not right, and you think you get it right, and they're like, all right, do it again, do it again, do it again.
Do it again like it's the first time you've done it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I definitely, after that experience, and also, I did a talk last year that was, it was 2 hours. And I was like, how the hell am I going to fill 2 hours? So I actually turned it into a workshop where there was group activities going on.
Right.
So it's a way to break it up, but it's still a lot of content to remember,
Yeah.
Fortunately, it was content that I was fairly familiar with, so it came off fairly well. But it's a lot of work, man. It's no easy task, speaking and acting and all that.
Yeah, I a great respect for actors who can make those lines their own and own it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't own it yet. It's still pretty clear I'm memorizing.
Yeah.
And I'm stilted, and I need a little cue here.
You got about 6 weeks, so you got time.
I've only got 6 weeks.
Right.
So in that time, I probably have to. I guarantee I have to practice it another 1,000 times.
Wow. So how many times is that a day?
I'll be doing that at least 25 times a day.
Holy cow! So that's how many hours of practice is that? Who can do math really quick?
I don't know. I just go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only have that switch that says
that's
go.
5 hours.
So I get up at 4:30, and I do my practice from 4:30 to about 5. 5 I leave for the gym.
Yeah.
Do my regular day. Then the kids are in bed again around 9. I wish 9:30, and so I'll go from 9:30 to 10:30, and then I just read and read and read.
You
read the script. Reread the script. I do it with a
gotcha.
funny accent. I do it overacting. I do it quiet. I do it fast. I do it slow.
Have you recorded it and listened to it when you're driving around?
I haven't done that yet because I've not nailed down yet, but I can't wait to do that.
Record it and then just play it as you're driving, and eventually you'll be just saying it along with the
That's right.
with the talk. And,
it's funny you say that. I'm looking forward to doing that, but I'm not nailed down yet, and that scares me.
Right. You also could try is doing it in the float tank. When you go into
that. See how he did that there?
When you go into a hyper learning state, right? You get into that theta state, and you actually do receive information easier. So you could be playing your talk 3 or 4 times throughout the course of your float, and potentially, embedding that into your subconscious.
That's actually a genius idea, because I've been looking online for ways to memorize, and of course I'm going to acting support websites, and all sorts of tricks that we have to. I believe that success in life is playing tricks on myself and falling for them every time. And I can do that to be a failure, and I can do that to be a success. And I need to find ways to do that as a success. You might be onto something there.
What are some of your tricks?
So I listen to instrumental music while I'm working that matches the pace of what I want to learn. So that's why I listen to alpha wave music I just usually get YouTube music. There's mixes of that.
Yeah.
And so I'll do something for mindfulness or concentration. I make sure I drink lots of water, which sounds weird, but it works for me to make sure I'm drinking a lot.
Yep.
I'm really good. I can work anywhere. So I could be in a busy bus station. Doesn't matter. I can work. So for me, the visual stimulation just melts away. But it's the auditory. I need to block that out so I can focus.
Yeah, I'm very much the same way. Like if I'm in a busy place, like I actually put on earbuds, and I have this app called Ambiscience, which I'll put on, and it actually provides like it can do white noise or background music, very ambient. Also, there's different frequencies in there as well, based on like focus and concentration or meditation, what helps alter your brainwave states a little bit. So if you're trying to focus in, there's a brainwave that'll really kind of keep you dialed.
I need to get that app from you later.
It's free. Ambiscience.
Ambiscience. Yeah. There you
go. Awesome. So, any kind of final remarks or regards going into your talk, or anything else you'd like to get out there today?
I've been impressed with the scope of the people speaking at this TEDx event, and I would imagine I haven't seen other TEDx's in other cities and other places, but I know people listen to you guys all around the world. I would urge people to go and just hear different viewpoints on life from these people who have really put that much effort into delivering a great TEDx experience for you. The amount of work that I've seen our team put into this tells me that I'm getting really interesting snapshots of the world. I don't know if you know Mohammed Al-Saleh, who's a refugee.
I had him on last week.
Did you?
Yeah.
What a great story to help me understand what it's like. My parents were immigrants, and I think I understand their experience, but when I hear about a refugee coming over,
and his story was extreme. After you're done listening to this, go check out Mohammed Al-Saleh, because he's got a really powerful story. In fact, he survived being in a prison camp and being tortured, and then coming here, and now he helps new Syrian refugees like integrate into Canada when they get here. He actually met what's his name, Trudeau. He has a picture with him and Justin Trudeau together because he was a story for a while. So
great.
Yeah, awesome story. And that's the thing, they bring in people who definitely have pretty inspiring things to share, like such as yourself.
Jenny Zhao, she's 11 and she's going to be speaking, and you have got to hear her talk.
Wow,
she's fantastic.
What's
so
her
eloquent.
Talk on?
So I think her topic changed a little bit, but it's about the experience of a child in school, like what kids really learn in school. But I don't know the exact angle, because it's we've all changed a little bit as we go. But when I hear her talk, I said to somebody sitting next to me, I said, "We're listening to greatness here."
Cool.
She's 11 and she blew me away.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's a prodigy right there for sure. If you're doing TEDx talks at age 11,
where do you go next? Right?
I don't know.
Well, it challenges me. Where do I go next? If she's doing that at 11,
right,
and she's a new immigrant to Canada, what's holding the rest of us back?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Have you even thought about the post TEDx Stanley Park like hangover almost? Not that, like, you know what I mean, like. Do you have anything set up? Because, like, you've been so focused on this for 6+ months. Like, the time is insane. The commitment's insane. Then all of a sudden it's going to be done.
Right. I want to get back to the gym a little bit more than I have been. I'm a lot more of myself than I used to be. So I want to tone that back a little bit.
I like that. That's a good way of saying it.
And I'll look for another project. I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm always starting off something else, something new. So I'll be putting my efforts into that. And I think I'm going to continue down this path. If I can help people, parents like myself, I don't think I have the whole solution, but I have a really interesting message to tell. So I'm going to actually extend it, and I'll probably turn it into a book and try to see if I can speak in some other places just to help. As long as we as parents are intentional, just like mindfulness is, just be intentional about being a parent, I think we all go a longer way.
Yeah, and that's just bringing a lot of focus to and attention to what you're doing and what you're projecting out there, what you're communicating, how you're communicating it. Like, so many people, I feel, can get stuck in like an autopilot mode and not bring that element of mindfulness, that element of intention to whatever element of their life, let alone their child rearing. So it's like, how do you do that? So I think that's it's I'm sure it's also out there, but I think it's an endless thing, because it's nonstop. We're always every generation is needing to evolve and grow and go off the foundations of our parents and our grandparents, right? Like, it's just this keep leveling up thing, ideally, and I think that's a very, very pragmatic thing to do.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to come after mobile devices, but something's maybe your son is going to be the one that invents this thing we haven't even considered yet.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to be, I don't know. We're going to be in some sort of a virtual reality for sure pretty soon. It's just like,
Are we going the full
kids are gonna
circle
be-
and we just kind of like get back to nature?
yeah,
That's right.
maybe we just get
I'm gonna go
too
back.
crazy and people are like, I can't handle this anymore, and they're
Yeah.
like, we all migrate back
Check
into.
out.
the
I definitely
woods.
have like my 5-year vision of like getting into a more rural environment, but yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
You get tired once you get into the community, into the city, and you're working in businesses here. You definitely get you're
Very
plugged
rooted.
in. You're plugged
Yeah.
into the matrix a little bit, so you
Yeah.
gotta do things to
Unplug.
unplug. Yeah, exactly. So.
So where can people find you?
They can find me online after we just railed so hard against the machine here.
Yeah,
You can find me online at multiple
Pick
places.
up your phone right
Yeah.
now for the 200th time today, and
So I do have a website, which is BizStratPlan, B-I-Z, or for us in Canada, B-I-Z, BIZSTRATPLAN. That's one of my websites. And I do some specialty consulting for the franchisor world. And those are people who run franchise organizations. And so I have a website at Zor Business as well. And then, I don't know, you might see me down the street here in Vancouver, or just say hi.
Walking
Awesome.
around.
Yeah.
Great.
Or at Tedx Stanley Park on March
How did I
3rd.
forget that? Tedx Stanley Park.
Yeah,
That's right.
Exciting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great year. Roger always puts on a great show, great production. So definitely go out there and support some local people in the community.
Yeah,
doing
get
great
your tickets,
things.
folks, for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, anything else you want to throw in there?
No, I think we're good. Wrap it up. I just want to thank everyone for listening as always, and we enjoy every time that you join us. And we look forward to more of the Tedx Stanley Park speakers coming our way. I think it's a great little alliance we have established.
Thanks for coming all the way in.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Coquitlam, you said?
New Westminster,
New
believe it or
Westminster,
not.
that's
Yeah,
a
there's a
drive.
few of us live there.
Well, if you leave now, you
Yeah.
can beat traffic for the most part. So,
Yeah.
well,
Cool.
thanks a lot for making it away.
Thanks,
It's
guys.
Great talk.
Great to be here.
And if you like what you heard today, please leave us a review and rating on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. It really helps us get found. Come out to some of the community events at Mindful Mass or Vancouver Real meetups, and come in for a float. Use the promo code Vancouver Real and get yourself a 20% discount on a single float. So until next time,
To whatever is.
to whatever is.